What's good, guys? Good evening once again. Today we begin our discussion with by talking about the iPhones. The newest models are supposed to release today, and I bring this up because, as previously mentioned at the start of my lecture, I said that I will discuss also things that are outside the scope of radiology, but still somehow related. So I'm talking about the iPhones because um, the chip or the CPU that is within these phones are what we call what they call as the bionic chip. So basically, the bionic chip comprises of the normal CPU. Then you have an additional GPU or graphics processing unit. So this one is similar to the video cards that you have on your laptops and PCs. And then they added a third chip, um, which is your neural engine. So the neural engine has been existing since I think the since 2017, or I think maybe that's two or three iPhones before. So basically, this chip is what we what they what we call or what is involved in the processing of AI or artificial intelligence. So I bring that up because in radiology also, artificial intelligence is slowly but surely um, getting much and much more involved in our practice. And my research last year was actually about artificial intelligence. That's why I'm relating this to this topic. And the goal of my research was to look into a software which claims to be able to identify pulmonary tuberculosis. So basically, there's this whole fear among radiologists and scientists that AI might replace us eventually. However, that's not entirely true. So here's an example of the results of my research. So this is for a patient with tuberculosis, and there are certain parameters that the AI is able to identify and answer with yes or no if it exists in the um, chest radiograph in question. So in this case, on the image on your left, you can see that actually um, the AI software is able to identify which regions of the lung has the pathology. So the upper lobes, and you also have this consolidation in the right mid to lower lung. So it enumerates the findings. Then after enumerating which of these findings is seen in our radiograph, it will then advise if tuberculosis tuberculosis screening is warranted for this case. So um, actually, if um, what we what was the conclusion of my study is basically this software is able to identify these findings at a high rate. It's actually very close to human. I pitted the AI software against three of our senior consultants, and more or less the results are equal. The disadvantage is, of course, AI is only limited to these parameters. So the only goal or the only purpose of the software is only for tuberculosis. So if you have other pathologies in the chest, that will be outside the scope of the software and it will not be able to diagnose them properly. So it's a very promising field, and I brought this up now because we're gonna be talking about neuroimaging. And As powerful as this AI softwares are, our brain is still the best computer. So always remember that with the right um, training and um, if you really just develop it, our brains are much more capable of doing a lot of computing and calculating that can easily defeat these AI softwares. So now let's go to our topic, neuroimaging.